As far as the first category is concerned, that is, the actions and deeds of a Muslim related to himself, it is the same irrespective whether that Muslim lives in a Muslim society or a non-Muslim society. The actions and the deeds are the same. There are certain concessions given in certain situations, but it does not differ whether the Muslim is living in a Muslim society or the non-Muslim society. It is the same. For example, what is fard? What is compulsory for a Muslim in a Muslim society is also fard, is also compulsory for a Muslim in a non-Muslim society. For example, every Muslim has to believe and worship only one Almighty God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Irrespective whether he's living in a Muslim society or a non-Muslim society, he should believe in Tawheed. He should worship only one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A Muslim has to pray 5 times a day, minimum, in a Muslim society. The same has to be done by that Muslim even if he lives in a non-Muslim society. Fine, there may be different situations. In a Muslim society, there may be a mosque in every area. There may be a mosque in every second street, which may not be the case in a non-Muslim society. But yet, if a Muslim is living in a non-Muslim society, he has to offer 5 times salah. It is compulsory. It is fard. If the mosque is not close by, or he has to travel long and he cannot do that, he has to offer salah maybe in his office or at home, but salah is fard. He has no excuse to miss it. A Muslim, irrespective whether he is living in a Muslim or a non-Muslim society, he has to give zakat. If he is entitled to give. If he has a saving of more than the nisab level, more than 85 grams of gold, he or she should give 2.5% of that excess wealth, of that saving, every lunar year in charity. A Muslim cannot say that he is living in a non-Muslim society and the standard of living is high, or the place where he is living, it is expensive, therefore he will not give zakat. If he has a saving of more than the nisab level, 85 grams of gold, he or she should give zakat every year. A Muslim, irrespective whether living in a Muslim or a non-Muslim society, he has to fast in the month of Ramadan. If the days are short in winter, maybe the timings will be less. If it's in summer where the days are long, the timing of the fast would be longer. But he has to fast compulsory. He has no excuse. If he lives in a non-Muslim society, he has no excuse. He has to fast. Similarly, a Muslim, if he has the means to perform Hajj, if he is an adult, he should at least perform Hajj once in his lifetime. If he has the means, health, and money, he has to offer Hajj. There's no excuse, even if he's living in a non-Muslim society. He may be living far away from Saudi Arabia, from Makkah. But if he has the means to travel that distance, he has to offer Hajj, at least once in his lifetime. It is fard. In this way, all the faraiz, all the actions and deeds which are compulsory for a Muslim in a Muslim society is also compulsory in a non-Muslim society. A Muslim woman, she has to do hijab, irrespective whether she's living in a Muslim or non-Muslim society. She has no excuse that she's living in a non-Muslim society. That's the reason she will not do hijab. There's no excuse. It's a fard. It has to be done. In this way, all the other fards, being honest, speaking the truth, it is the same. It does not differ. Similarly, what is haram for a Muslim in a Muslim society is also haram for a Muslim in a non-Muslim society. Whichever part of the world he lives in, shirk is haram. He is living in a Muslim society. It's also haram if he's living in a non-Muslim society. There's no excuse that because he's staying in a non-Muslim society or a Western country, he can do shirk. It's haram throughout the world. Similarly, fornication, and adultery. It is haram for a Muslim, irrespective whether he is living in a Muslim or non-Muslim society, irrespective which part of the world he lives in. Pork is haram, whether he lives in a Muslim country or non-Muslim country. Having non-zabiyah food, non-halal food, any meat which is not slaughtered by the Islamic method, or which Quran does not give permission to, it is haram, irrespective whether he is living in a Muslim or non-Muslim society. In short, whatever is fard and whatever is haram for a Muslim, it is the same throughout the world, irrespective whether he is living in a Muslim or a non-Muslim society. There are many Muslims who give excuse that because I'm living in a Western country or because I'm living in a non-Muslim society, some things are excused. What is fard is fard. What is haram is haram. As far as the other aspects are concerned, regarding mustahab, things which are encouraged, those which are considered as sunnah, mustahab, thing which is encouraged, it is the same also. But there may be a little bit leniency. For example, covering the head for a Muslim man or wearing a cap is mustahab. It is the sunnah of the Prophet. But if you feel that you're living in a non-Muslim society and you feel that wearing a cap may endanger your life, and if you want to avoid that act, you can do it. Because wearing a cap is not fard in Islam. If you do it, you will get plus points. If you don't do it, you have no loss. But you will not get the plus points. So living in a non-Muslim society, the thing which is mustahab, if you fear regarding certain aspects and you avoid it, you will not get the plus points. Similarly, things which are makruh, things which are discouraged, are the same throughout the world. But there can be a little bit leniency. For example, going for the call of nature, standing and doing the call of nature, it is makruh. But if you know living in a Western country and the toilets may not permit you, and if you do it, there is no problem, but you will lose the plus points. You don't get negative points. So as far as the fard and the harams are concerned, there is no excuse at all. As far as the other aspects are concerned, about the sunnah and the makruh, if you want to avoid it for certain reason, you can do it. You will not get negative points, but you will lose the positive points. This was in short regarding the first category of a behavior of a Muslim in a non-Muslim society.